Evening, Councillors.
Evening, Mr. Mayor.
Call the meeting to order and start with item 1. Receive members' apology for absence.
Mr Mayor, we have apologies from Councillor Justin Lewis, Councillor Eve Torfick, County Councillor Tony White and Borough Councillor Josie Ratcliffe.
Do we accept those apologies?
Yes.
Yep. Thank you. Everyone agree? Yeah. Move on to item 2. Receive members' declarations of interest.
I'd like to declare an interest in 287, 291 and 377 on the bill payment, Mr Mayor.
Okay. Item 19. Item 19.
Giving interest in item 19.
Thank you.
And myself.
Thank you for that. Item 3, to read the Town Clerk's report and the minutes announcements.
Councillors, I'm pleased to announce that I have a meeting regarding the banking hub with the liaison on Friday the 29th of September, so I should have something new to report at the October meeting. Councillor Pyatt asked for the live streaming debate to happen at this meeting. I have just pulled it into October just for awareness. We've still got it approved till the end of December anyway. And also there is a car parking meeting with the Borough Council on Monday the 3rd of October at 3 p.m. for councillors, please, to discuss car parking, which will be on the October full council agenda. On a very lovely note, we've had an emergency blood loss kit donated by Joan Cribbett in memory of her husband, Chris Meller, who sadly passed this year. It was picked up yesterday and we're just arranging a location for it to go into. Once we've got the location, then we will obviously announce that publicly. Thank you, Mr Mayor.
Thank you. For myself, I've attended quiz night, bingo night, coffee mornings. I went to Lake and Heath for the civic tour, raised the flag for Merchant Navy Day and laid a wreath for Battle of Britain. And I just mentioned that on Monday we're going to Stone Cross Memorial at 2:30. Everyone's welcome. And I shall be going to the Harvest Festival at got the name of it. Harvest Festival, and again the Stone Cross, and I'll be going to Mara. Okay. Item 5, public participation. Oh, sorry. Sorry. Item 4, sorry, Mr Parish. The Borough Council Leader, Terry Parish, with a question and answers. Councillor Parish. Thank you. Yes, microphone there.
Is on?
Yes, I think so. You have to speak fairly close to it.
Okay. Can you hear me now? Yeah. Yes. Well, good evening all. Yes, I'm the infamous Terry Parish, leader of the Borough Council. I've come here tonight for your night. You can ask me questions. I can't guarantee I know the answers, but you ask the questions. I've come to see Downham Market as well. I came in the early part of the administration. I met the Mayor and the Clerk, and Andy Bullen invited me over and he took me on a tour of some of the sites, and I went around the Swan projects as well. And I said I'd come again, and Andy suggested a council meeting would be an opportune moment. You are a part of my portfolio. I have all sorts of things to do. I have to do what everybody else doesn't do, really, in my portfolio. And keeping contact with on Stanton and Downham Market is within my portfolio. So that's one reason why I'm here. I hope I come here again, and I hope you maintain contact with me when you want to. We are an open administration. We are a transparent administration. So you can come and see me when you like. Well, it's easy to say that. You can make an appointment to see me through a PA, and that's not because I'm funny. It's just that my diary is full of things. And so, you have to be certain that you actually see me, you need to make an appointment. But anybody's welcome to do that. You can email me the normal process, and I will respond and reply to emails, which is not always the case, I know, from criticism we have levied at the Borough Council from time to time. But I update my emails 2 or 3 times a day, so you will get a response. So I'm here, and you can throw things at me or whatever you want to do. There is a further chance in October, because I've invited chairs to a meeting at the Town Hall in early October of all parish councils in order to put their problems and issues to me. I've suggested 1 or 2 that there might be. And that will be in the afternoon and in the evening, 2 o'clock and 6 o'clock. The date escapes me, but the clerk has got the date. Right, over to you, really.
Are there any questions for Councillor Parish? I'll leave the floor to you, Councillor.
Well, that's the point. It's a bit rude, but I don't know who you are. So.
Yeah. The public toilets in the town square, the market square.
Yeah.
Is there any progress going ahead?
Yes, there is progress. It's sometimes circular, the progress, because when I came up in the few weeks into the administration, I was guided to the toilets. I parked by the toilets, in fact, and they were pointed out to me. So I went back and inquired as to what was going on with the toilets, and asked for pricing, if you like, to be done, you know, to see how much they would cost to replace or repair or whatever that's got to be done with them. That came back, but it came back the options weren't sufficient options, really, and they've gone back again for a few more options. But yes, you will get them replaced.
It's because we've already had somebody come with plans and told us that they would be replaced later this year.
Right.
And nothing happened.
Nothing happened.
No.
And when exactly was that?
Sorry?
Do you know when that was?
It was earlier this year, wasn't it?
Early this year. Yeah, that's. I can pass the book.
Before the elections.
Yeah, I can pass the book and say it's before my time. Yeah. What I can say is, yes, they are going to be replaced. I mean, the officer who deals with such things is a floor below me, and I go and see him about it. And he's produced 1 set of plans. I've asked him to go and produce another set of plans. What I've asked for is a straight replacement with modern, proper toilets that are clean and functional, not the weird ones you've got. I have been asked whether the Town Council would consider taking on maintenance of the toilets once they've been replaced. So it's something for you to think about. It's not a condition, but I've been asked to ask that, so I'm asking that. You needn't say no now. You can think about it first. All right? I'll come to you in a moment. And those toilets will be replaced. I can't see it being done this year because the plans are drawn up, contracts are awarded, somebody has to come and do the job. But the plan is to effectively remove what is there and put in plain, solid, functional toilets.
What we did ask for.
Yeah. In addition, the same officer is looking for a place in Downham Market to place, I'm sorry, I can't remember the name, those toilets that have got a hoist in them. There's this
Changing place.
Changing places, thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Changing places toilets, because there's a grant for that, so we got the grant for 3 toilets, I think. And they want to put 1 in Downham Market, 1 in Kingsley, at least 1 in Kingsley, 1 in Hunstanton. It requires a room that is fairly large, so you can't just sort of bolt them on anywhere. You know, it needs a room. And they are inquiring of local supermarkets whether they provide a space. We pay for it if they provide a space, you know. And that process is ongoing at the moment. But what is allocated for Downham Market, if we can find somewhere to stick it, really. Yeah. Okay. Sorry.
Yeah, you've partly answered what I was going to ask you about the footprint of those toilets. Obviously won't take a change in places toilet.
No.
And I didn't know, I'd heard a rumour that Tesco's were going to be approached to have it put in their building.
Tesco's have been approached. I think at the moment Tesco's have said no, but I can't swear to that, but I think that's the case. Okay. So they're going to approach the other supermarkets.
Okay.
But it is you know as much about them as me, possibly more. It is a substantial space that's required.
It's quite a considerable footprint to put those in, isn't it?
Yeah. We thought that supermarkets might have space in there, and the cost will be met by the Borough Council, but it's by a loan that Borough Council, not a loan, a grant the Borough Council gets. You know.
Okay, thank you.
Hello,
Sorry,
Councillor Leavers here. Nice to meet you. We have had a discussion in full council about toilets being put back on the Howdale. And Councillor Radcliffe said she was going to try and do something about that. I wondered if you had heard anything.
I haven't heard about toilets on the Howdale.
They were removed, but the residents up there are getting all kinds of, I can't say, but the gardens are being used as toilets when there's things happening up there. And we've got mothers with babies who are in nappies. The nappies are being, they need to change them, etc. Especially if they're up there with that wonderful playground that you supplied or helped to fund. So I wondered if you could look into that for us.
Yes, I told, not a lie, but I mistook something. I have heard of the Howdale and the play facilities that were put on there through one grant or another, or just Borough Council money. And at the same time, toilets were removed, that's correct?
That's right.
Yeah.
Well,
and a similar thing happened in King's Lynn, in fact. There's another area which had play space provided, and the toilets vanished. Probably an error of judgment, really. What you have to appreciate, or not appreciate, depending how you think about it, is that toilets are not a small beer. They're expensive. And when you multiply it by the number of toilets you probably need, it's a large amount of money. This doesn't stop them coming forward, so you can ask your borough councillors or yourselves to make the case again for toilets at Howdale and put it into the pot, because the budgets for next year will be set before Christmas, really, ready for, well, it won't be set before Christmas, it'll be discussed before Christmas, ready for setting it after Christmas. And we need to know what to budget for. And toilets are an issue which affects many councils because, well, there's young people, yes, and with children and so on, but there's also an elderly population. I'm an elderly population myself, and I have to plan where I go to see whether there's a toilet or something there, and where I can stop and so on. So I'm fully aware of the need for toilets.
Yeah. As a point of information, the Howdale toilets were taken away in 2016 by the previous administration as a part of a reduction strategy for public facilities. Yeah. But it was always pointed out that the Howdale toilets were unique because, as Councillor Leaves points out, they are a significant health hazard for a residential community which is largely elderly, and actually those of us that raised it as a public health issue at the time have been fully vindicated, and I would urge the relevant borough councillors to have that conversation with you, because that's a resource that is being used very well, particularly since the SIL grant that upgraded the play equipment, and it's something that does need to be actually, I think, addressed by the borough council, because, as I say, it is a health hazard, and it is a growing health hazard, and I think does require wider investigation. I know you're probably due as well to write your corporate plan going forward. Have you any highlights for the corporate plan that would actually help this area in particular develop its what I would call both its community and business facilities, because this is a part of the borough that has, shall we say, felt, but certainly seen lack of development going from previous administrations, and actually there are some concerns really going forward about the wider future for our community. So those kind of headlines going forward.
I'll come to that in a moment. You just mentioned SIL funding. You could apply for SIL funding for the toilets, and you could that could be supported. So the borough might have to find some money, but you could apply for SIL grant for toilets.
I think the Deputy Mayor's got a question.
I'll come back to what you've asked in a moment. But sorry.
Evening, Councillor Parish. I've got a question and information for you. Andy Bullen will know what I'm going to say. The Memorial Playing Field and Pavilion regarding special expenses charged to Downham Market residents on their council taxes. Over the last 20 years, I have attended the Federation Club meetings as a councillor. I understand the Federation Committee who used to run the Federation Club, the pavilions especially, no longer exists. As there is no committee and no AGM held on no accountability, Downham Market Football Club now appears to run the clubhouse as a sports bar and a function venue. Our residents are paying towards this pavilion, but there is no public access and it seems to be no accountability. The memorial field is a public open space, but when football matches are taking place, the public has limited access, with turnstiles now fitted for access to the football area. Now, how has this been allowed to happen on an area which is designated as a public open space? I would like to know how the former Federation clubhouse is being run and why residents are still being charged for its cost. This question has already been asked to the Borough Council, but no answer has been given. There has also been meeting relating to this area. Our Borough Councillors and County Councillors were invited, but our councillors was totally ignored. No invitation was given. And we are paying something like $16,850 towards this pavilion, which is now no longer a public access. If you obviously can't answer all that, if you want a copy of this, I'm quite happy for the clerk to send you it.
Right, well, please can I have a copy of that sent to me? I'm not totally ignorant of the situation because I was talking briefly about Downham Market this afternoon, partly in preparation for coming here tonight. And one of the issues that was raised was the memorial field. So it's not unknown. What you're saying is that it's been known about for a while and nothing has been done about it. That's what you're saying.
I have asked questions after questions over the last 20 years, and so has the Mayor, and we have had no satisfaction answer. We've been passed from pillar to post, from person to person. Andy Bullen has got us more answers than a lot of people have, but we are actually being ignored, the fact that we're paying for something which is not available to the public. And that is wrong. The whole bill together on special expenses is around 96,000. Some of it is cutting grass, some of it is maintaining areas, and I find that is offensive to Downham Market, and the residents should be given a better answer than they've been given over the past 20 years. And I'd like to see, with a new regime, to try and answer that question for us, please.
Yeah, well, I won't deny that you should have been told the answer. And as I said, this is a transparent administration, and I'll find out the answer.
Councillor Parish, just to make you aware that a resident did raise this as a freedom of information that was sent to the borough on the 20th of April, and I've been trying to chase it up with the borough and I get no response at all, and obviously FOI should be answered, so there's definitely someone culpable in the office that is ignoring the situation.
That was the 20th of April?
20th of April was when the FOI started.
Right. They're usually quicker than that because I have FOIs on me that seem to happen overnight. I will come back to... I'll answer your... Have you finished, sorry?
Yes, I think so now.
Thank you.
If you could sort that out.
Can I just say I wholeheartedly agree with Councillor Pyatt on what was said about the extra expenses, and it would be nice to know which areas of grass cost the 65,000 that we're charged on our special expenses bill. If those areas could be identified, that would be very interesting to us.
Right, well, I'll raise it tomorrow with appropriate officers and see what happens. I have been pleased that when I've raised, not this issue, but other issues with appropriate officers, things do seem to happen. It may be early days for me, but, you know, it does happen. So I'll raise it with appropriate officers.
Thank you.
Excellent. Any other questions?
I hadn't answered a question that was down there at the moment. Do you want to know about the corporate plan?
Please.
Sorry.
Sorry.
I haven't got the latest version of the corporate plan, which is about version 127 now, or whatever it is, you know, on the system. There's several things about the corporate plan. What you will see, what the public will see, is a sort of 4 or 5, maybe 6-page document, which is general things which we're aiming to do in the corporate plan. Underpinning that is another document, which you may not see or you can ask to see, which is the list of things which need to be done in order to achieve what's in the upper list. They will be available to the public. It's just that we can't see us distributing hundreds of copies of every document, because it'll be online, but that's all. But on growth, economy, jobs and regeneration and so on, an overarching thing is attract new businesses to locate, grow and thrive across the borough. And I'm saying across the borough, I don't know Downham Market well enough. I'm going to learn about Downham Market. I live at the Hunstanton and I live in Heacham, which is close to Hunstanton. We're always moaning about Hunstanton because it gets things that Heacham doesn't get, yet we're the same size. I know Downham and people this side of the borough moan about the money that goes to Kings Lynn and north of the borough, Hunstanton, which is holiday makers and things. That's the excuse for it. And I'm interested in ensuring all the borough benefits. So it's across the borough for thriving businesses. So we'll support any ideas that come forward from your borough councillors or yourselves. We'll do what we can to support that. And the other thing about the borough and the whole borough is that one of the items in the corporate plan is something that has gone public, and that is interested in seeing whether Kings Lynn can have a town council. By giving them a town council, it means they're responsible for their own town, and it means the borough will become the borough of West Norfolk, not the borough of Kings Lynn and West Norfolk. So I want West Norfolk to be West Norfolk, not bits of West Norfolk, if you know what I mean. I've also insisted in the corporate plan that the West in West Norfolk is a capital W, because it's actually legitimately is West with a small W, Norfolk with a capital N, because West Norfolk isn't a recognised geographical area, but I want it capital W, capital N, West Norfolk, the place of West Norfolk. Whether this happens will depend on many things, which is everybody will have to be consulted. People in Kings Lynn, people in West Norfolk will all have to be consulted about a change. And this will take time, and it will probably be in the second or third year of the administration before it goes through the system, because I'd like it to get done before the end of my administration, in case the next administration, which might not be mine, decides not to do it. So I'd like to get it done, if it's going to be done. If people say we don't want it done, then it won't be done. So it supports opportunities for business growth, regeneration, quality employment, support partners to deliver appropriate infrastructure projects that have regard to the existing character, environment and quality of life in the borough. It's the borough all the time. It's not Kings Lynn or Hunstanton, it's the borough all the time. Engage to ensure the best outcome for West Norfolk from any emerging county deal. Now, you might have heard that there's, the county are looking at a county deal which is devolution to governments. I'd like to devolve West Norfolk, quite honestly. And I said this half as a joke, and I said it to somebody that you know, actually, which is your MP. And I said I'd like to devolve West Norfolk, and she said she'd like to do the same. She'd like to split Norfolk into two. We'd be in one half and somebody else would be in another half. But the town's deal, whatever happens, is government money given to Norfolk. Norfolk then have to decide how to spend it. What we're interested in is that West Norfolk, if it happens, gets its share, appropriate share of the various pots that make up this money. And what I'm interested in is ensuring that whatever pots there are that are shared out are distributed appropriately across West Norfolk, which will include the three towns, but also the villages in between and beyond as well. West Norfolk as a place. Improve health, wellbeing, inclusion and reduce isolation in our communities. Improving opportunities and levels of educational attainment, inclusion and ambition in younger residents. Well, there's two things there. Health is across the board for everybody, but with an older population like me, it's a lot of health resources go on older people, so we'd like to ensure that that is distributed fairly and equally. We are taking steps to try and encourage increased dentist provision in West Norfolk, because it's an issue which affects many people. It's not part of our remit. It's not a borough council health, in that sense, it's not a borough council remit. But we're tired of waiting for whoever's remit it is to actually do something about it, really. So we're going to try and take steps to improve dental provision. We can't buy dentists, we can't recruit dentists, but we'll try and see whether we can make a place for dentists that dentists might want to come to. And that's, you'll hear more about that as it develops, but that's what we intend to do. And I'm not quite sure about your provision here in Downham Market, but it's pretty dire up the other end of the borough. Educational attainment. Well, education isn't part of the Borough Council remit either, but we are looking at that. There's a project called the Boost Project, which attempts to improve skills in young adults and older adults, for that matter, who've escaped the system in some way or been failed by the system in another way, so that they haven't attained the skills that they really need to move on and get employment. And you've got your own Swan Project, which does a good job as well. And I've mentioned that today at a meeting. It wasn't about the Swan Project, but it was about something else. And I said, what about the Swan Project? You know, you're talking about all these building skills in people. They build skills. Make sure that they're not left out in the cold. Support for older residents to continue to live in their homes within the local community, providing services and support with a focus on prevention. It's important that ageing populations get support to remain where they want to live, rather than going to places where they may not want to live. And the Borough Council does a job on that, quite a good job in some ways, and we're going to ensure that continues. There are projects to improve the energy resilience of houses, multiple projects in fact, insulation, energy provision and so on. The grants are sometimes related to whether you're on benefits of some kind, but some of the grants aren't. Some of the grants are benefit free. And there is an officer who tours around parish and town councils giving presentations on that. If you haven't had him already, I'll pass the information on. But it's a good thing for people. I've got two members of the Cabinet who are responsible for environment, because we find the environment is an important aspect of Norfolk. Not just the greening of Norfolk and the making it a pleasant place to live and maintaining it as a pleasant place to live and protecting those areas we want protected, but also issues about flooding, both from rivers and sea, if you live my end of the borough, pollution and water quality and so on. So I've got two Cabinet members looking at all that, and I hope that will also benefit Downham Market. I could ramble on forever, but I think I'll draw a line under it there.
I've just got one to mention on behalf of Francis Rayner. In the previous administration, they were looking at a phase 2 for the Howdale area to install an adult gym. I just wondered whether that was still likely to progress. It had gone to Nathan Johnson, but Francis hasn't heard anything since.
I haven't heard of that. So that's a phase 2 for Howdale adult gym. Several areas have had adult gyms, and most of those have been paid for through silver bids, quite honestly.
Yeah, it came up because we were looking at having one, and we've applied for a still application, which is when Francis said, actually, we've already got a discussion happening with the borough, and obviously because it was previous administration, I said that may still not stand, and I said I would question it with you.
Yes, well, there's been no discussion with me, and how do I say it? A number of discussions were held earlier, and I'm not sure where the funding was supposed to be coming from, because I can't see where the funding's coming from. I'd have to make it plain, if it's not, you're not read it in the press or read it anywhere else, that there isn't a balanced budget in the borough, in the sense that the money that comes in and the money that goes out equal each other. The money that comes in is considerably less than the money that goes out. And the reason we don't go into the red is because there are reserves which are gradually being eaten away. And, you know, from your own bank accounts, you know, if you keep taking money out of your savings, the savings go down. Well, the Borough Council has got savings called reserves. They gradually go down. And they get to a dangerous point in about 3.5 years' time. And then if you went to that point and beyond, you're in the position of Birmingham now, really. Essential services only, you know. So what my administration is attempting to do is to ensure that the budget is managed so that we don't get to that stage. Otherwise, at the end of my administration, people will be jumping up and down saying, you've run us into the red. Well, we wouldn't have run you into the red, we would just follow the previous plans, really. What we're trying to do is ensure that we don't go into the red. And so we're being careful with money. It doesn't mean we won't spend money, but we're being careful with it. It's got to be budgeted for. It can't just be thrown away as largesse, really. I'm not trying to impress anybody by giving money away. I don't have any personal money to give away. It wasn't always the case. There was a thing called the leader's pot, which was £250,000 a year, which the leader could distribute as the leader wanted to whatever projects the leader fancied. I had that removed from me on the third day of my administration when I learnt about it. So I could honestly say to people, I've got no money, because I haven't. But it doesn't stop us spending money, but it has to be budgeted for and planned for and so on. It can't just be, you know, yes, you can have that, I'll give you some money. There's none of that.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks. I think, Councilor.
Can I just raise one point? I don't know if you're aware of Councilor Parish, but the town is about to lose a lot of its allotments, and it's of concern to a lot of people. So I just don't know if you're aware of it, but if the borough is looking to help.
Can I ask why you're losing allotments?
Because the Joint Burial Board, who leased the land to the Town Council, have taken it back because of the requirement to have bigger grave spaces.
Right. So, are you saying that the Town Council hasn't got a piece of land which you can then allocate for allotments?
Yeah, we've got another year and a half, haven't we, Councillor Lane? Yeah, and then we've got no allotments left in Downham Market at all.
There used to be a requirement, I don't know whether there still is, a legal requirement to provide so many allotments.
Well, there's a legal requirement to do what you can to provide it, not a requirement to provide it. So if we can't find the land, then legally we don't have to provide it. But obviously we are actively seeking land to be able to assist in providing it.
Right, but you haven't got the land?
We haven't got the land at the moment, no.
No, so you don't own any land. So you're asking whether the Borough Council owns any land?
Yes.
Yeah, don't know. I'll ask. Most land that anybody owns, of course, goes for development because that's where the money is. But I'll ask.
Thank you.
Okay.
Anything else?
Thank you very much, Mr. Parish.
Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Parish, for coming and speaking to us tonight.
If you don't mind, I'll sit down and listen to the rest of the meeting.
We would be very pleased.
Thank you.
Right, we'll move on then to item 5, public participation. Councillor report, questions?
Councillor White has given his apologies.
Borough councillors?
Councillor Bullen.
Councillor Bullen?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I did submit my report. I don't know whether that's online yet.
It has been.
I won't run through it, but I just like to mention a couple of things. I've invited Councillor Jo Rust, who is the Cabinet Member for People and Communities, to visit Downham Market next month. She'll be here on the 20th of October for quite a short visit. And I've also invited Cabinet Member Simon Ring, who's the Cabinet Member for Tourism, Events and Marketing, particularly to look at ways where the borough and maybe the town can promote Downham better and communicate what Downham is about better, particularly in Cambridgeshire and London and further afield. And also I've invited Bannon to the Cabinet Member for Property and Corporate Services to visit the town as well. We just need to arrange dates. If anyone's got any questions, please. Thank you.
Right, can I just inform you, we have 20 allotments at the moment and a waiting list of 56.
Yep.
Okay, we did have 54 allotments originally. Okay.
Just demonstrates how the need is there, isn't it? So thank you very much for that.
Councillor Davis.
Councillor Bullen is Councillor Simon Is he coming to the full council?
I beg your pardon?
Is he coming to address full council? Is he coming to speak to us all?
What, the cabinet members?
The tourism officer. Is he coming? Simon.
No, it was just a general visit to Downham Market.
Okay.
Show him around Downham Market and meet the clerk and the mayor.
It would have been good if he could have come and met the community events committee.
Okay.
We would like that very much.
I'll certainly suggest that, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it would be good to touch
When do you meet?
Once a month. October the 3rd is the next time, but I'm sure we could do a...
What time do you meet?
It's usually at 6 o'clock in the evening.
Okay.
All right, we can always...
We can look around then.
Yeah, if we've got the ability, we can obviously work around
Could you drop me a little email with the details?
Yeah,
And
that
I'll
would be good,
suggest that,
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I ask that Councilor Rust meets with people organisations such as Downham Dementia and the Befriending Charities, please, to actually have a look at the impact of COVID, cost of living and withdrawal services generally on the elderly population in this town, and in particular the lack of services that are increasingly apparent for post-65 people. Praise is rightly given to the Swan Project and all the excellent work it's doing there. We basically need an equivalent for people that are in that 65 plus bracket. There are significant problems relating to dementia, loneliness, etc. They're being experienced by our elderly population that I think needs a much more focused and rigorous engagement with by somebody, given perhaps the Borough Council and its wider corporate objectives, might like to take a lead in that. But we would welcome that discussion.
I'll raise that with Joe Ross as well, thank you.
Yes, please, if Joe could be asked, yes, please.
Okay.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Bullock. Councillor Osborne, I think, is present.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. I have been busy recently delivering a newsletter across the ward, so hopefully people in Downham Old Town will receive that, unless there's a few people who don't have letterboxes or sheltered accommodation I haven't accessed. But that'll be the quarterly newsletter. Hopefully that'll do regularly. I'm also holding a constituency surgery advertised in that, a number of them. First of which will be on Saturday 2 till 3 in the town library for constituents. One of the main things I did recently that I was quite pleased with is passed a motion at council celebrating the recent King's Lynn and West Norfolk Pride event, and we had a very good discussion and debate at council while passing that, with lots of very good contributions. And I think it's very good to celebrate the very successful event that I'm sure some people, I went to it, and I'm sure other people in Downham Market attended as well up there. And certainly next year we'll be looking at what more the borough can do to promote the event. I believe later on you are discussing, aren't you, the council tax support scheme consultation. So I've advertised that in my newsletter because we discussed that at the corporate performance panel, and I certainly have my own views on that. But I hope that as many people as possible will have a look at what they want within that, and obviously you can as a body. And I am hopeful that the consultation will strongly be in support of a 100% scheme that council can pass and help people. But obviously we will see what happens at the full council. We have obviously also got Downham Market Wordfest coming up, which looking forward to attending some events there, and I know the Town Council has been busily promoting that. Councillor Parish mentioned the work going on with dentistry. I just came off a Zoom call with Councillor Rust and other people where we were listening to someone who had been running the Toothless in Suffolk campaign, which has been quite successful, or at least in raising awareness of the issue. So we are certainly looking at the lessons that can be there for Norfolk, and it's pleasing to hear that the Borough Council is going to be taking that seriously. When it comes to something else that's positive, nothing, to be fair, that I had anything to do with, because I sent an email a long time ago when I got elected about Hill House and, the state of disrepair there, but it turned out the council was already doing something about it, so it's nothing to do with me, but, things are happening there, which is good to see. So thank you to the Borough Council enforcement for the action they took and persuaded, essentially, the owners to actually do something. And I think just one thing, to think about, certainly, because we've been talking about SIL funding, is obviously when it comes to the SIL funding, one of the main things the Town Council can do is obviously think about the neighbourhood plan and passing a neighbourhood plan, because if you pass the neighbourhood plan, the amount of SIL funding will certainly increase, and it will also help, obviously, with overall plans for development. I'm sure you're all aware of that, but I just think, it's something that should probably be a priority. I mean, it's up for you to decide your priorities, but I just think as a Borough Councillor, it would certainly be helpful on that. And just one other thing, which is it's almost more of a question, but in terms of Downham dementia that Councillor Westropp was mentioning, you have put in that community grant, haven't you? Because I've had discussions with Don Tyler, so I'll be happy to contribute to that.
Right, thank you.
But any questions? Right?
Any questions for Councillor Osborne? Thank you very much, Councillor Osborne.
Thank you.
Public participation. Any members of the public like to ask a question?
Can we stand there? Yes, please.
Sorry, I'm just going to turn on my little handy tablet.
Can you speak into the microphone?
Sorry,
So
I was just saying, I'm just trying to get my tablet open, sorry, 2 seconds. I guess most of you know me in one form or another, but to those that don't, my name's Carrie-Anne Lister. I'm here today representing a group called MAD, which is Melody All Sorts of Downham Market. We are a new drama group that was set up earlier this year. I lead that. And our purpose is to support all our members to be inclusive to new and old people, and also to allow people to perform on the stage that generally have disabilities or mental health conditions. That doesn't mean all of our members are like that, but we are a group that supports and gains confidence, builds trust and develops skills and learns new skills. We started this year doing a musical night here in the Town Hall for the Festival Committee. We then went on to do another successful musical night just 2 weeks ago, I think it was, 3 weeks ago. And we are now planning our panto for January, which we've already cast and already on the way. But we would like to build up a working relationship with the Town Council and you guys, because we want to do things like Halloween discos, but we want you to endorse us so that we can endorse you. We want us to work together for the future. We also have a Christmas concert planned, and we plan to have a Santa Claus grotto so that children can see Santa here in Downham Market without having to go to King's Lynn or other places. We want to run those things here in Downham because there is a lack of that. Not the lack of Santas, obviously, but the lack of drama and the lack of things that put on performances. But obviously, we need your help to be here in the Town Hall, obviously, because we need to hire it for an extended period. And that comes with costs. But we would like to work with you to come to a mutual agreement so that we support each other. And so that you support us and we support you, so that we can come along to your events dressed up as pirates or whatever you need to entertain the children, so that we can all be here together and support each other. I think that's really all I've got to say, unless someone wants to ask something.
Thank you. Any questions?
Yes,
Can we be brief with questions, please?
It sounds like you're a new organisation in the town,
Yeah.
Which is great. But do you wanted a working relationship with the council, and that's great too. Do you also have a working relationship with dads who are established in the town?
We do not. I am a former vice chairman of dads. Unfortunately, I can only speak for why I left, but there was a bullying culture that was built up in dads.
Can we?
I'm saying that's my experience.
Can we stop it there? Because this is not the council, sorry, but it's not the council. If you like to speak to us later on, it's okay. But usually we like 3 or 5 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just saying that, you know, we don't have a working relationship with them.
Okay, that's well, can we leave it at that?
Yeah.
You know?
Okay.
Okay, any other questions? Thank you very much. Correspondence with Norfolk Falls project.
So, councillors, I forwarded you an email from Susan Andrews. She's interested in forming a scheme across West Norfolk for the manger elk lifting equipment. It's to prevent the elderly lying on the floor for long periods of time, which can be dangerous for them. She's looking for an answer as to whether you are willing to support it and be part of the pilot project. This can be voted on because obviously it is on the agenda and it has been forwarded with over a week's notice. So.
Can I ask a question? Is this a private company?
It's a lady working with the NHS, so she's leading it, but the NHS are supporting it, and this is where the pilot comes in. They're trying to get all the main organisations together, so the big towns and any of the smaller villages that are interested in supporting and getting around a table. They're not even at the process of buying anything, it's more how would this work, how would we get volunteers together, etc. So it's early days.
Okay, thank you.
Can we discuss it ourselves and bring it back? Or because we don't really know. Go on.
Can I just ask if this is a new organisation? Because last year there was a fourth person came out to next door neighbour. 2 ladies came and lifted her and put her in a chair, made her a cup of tea. And they were doing that.
I mean, the only background I've got is what the email was that has been circulated, that it comes from the background of her mother being on the floor and then being in a waiting ambulance for 9 hours, when the NHS said that if the ELK equipment was available, then the local community could have raised her from the floor. That's as much as I understand.
Okay.
I would like somebody who's a paramedic there first to sort out any problems with the fall. You touch somebody, they can be crippled for life. Cover them up, leave them.
Yeah, my question was similar in terms of insurance as well, but it relates to what Councillor Wiles said. That would be something I would be concerned about.
And standing in front of a judge.
The letter asks that the Town Council consider being the lead for the hub. I think we need lots more information before we can vote on this tonight. Far more information is needed. So many questions. That
I mean, I wasn't asking you to commit to the project. I was asking for leadership on whether I'm to liaise with this lady, whether we even get into any discussion on it, because obviously that's going to take time. If council aren't minded to even show any interest, then we can obviously go back and say we're not minded.
I have concerns.
I think it would be,
councillors feel.
I think it would be sensible to at least have a conversation further to find out more about it. So
Okay.
I'm happy to go for that.
Yeah.
Can we do that?
Yeah, do you want to make a proposal to make a meeting?
Can I have a proposal to
I'll propose it
I'll second.
that we go for further information.
Yeah.
we go for further information?
Yeah.
We've got a proposal and a second. All those in favour, please.
Councillor Lynch? Against? Yeah.
Are you against? Well, that's carried anyway. So thank you very much. I'll move on then to item 6, councillors' questions. Any questions, councillors? Thank you. Item 7, to approve the minutes of the full council meeting held on the 18th of July. Proposer for that?
Councillor Incognito.
Second.
Councillor Buxton.
All those in favour?
All, thank you.
Item 8, through the minutes of this extraordinary full council held on the 15th of August. Got a proposer for that?
Councillor Westrop.
Second.
Councillor Lane.
All those in favour?
All, thank you.
Item 9, accept recommendations within the minutes from the following committees. Downham in Bloom Committee.
May I propose that you accept the minutes of Downham in Bloom Committee of the meeting held on the 10th of July 2023, please.
Got a seconder for that?
Councillor Westrop.
All those in favour?
All, thank you.
Item 2, Property Committee.
I'd like to ask full council if they would accept the minutes of the Property Committee for the 13th of July and the 28th of July 23, please.
Seconder for that?
Councillor Sharman.
All those in favour?
All, thank you.
Community Development Committee.
I'd like to propose that full council accept the minutes for the meeting for the Community Development Committee for the 4th of July 2023.
Got a seconder for that?
Councillor Levers.
All those in favour?
All, thank you.
Human Resources Committee.
I'd like to propose to the Council that they accept the minutes of the Human Resources Committee from the 18th of July.
Seconder for that?
Councillor Jordan.
All those in favour?
All, thank you.
Planning Committee.
May I propose that you accept the minutes of the Planning Committee meetings on the 11th of July, the 25th of July and the 29th of August, please.
Seconder for that?
Councillor Wales.
All those in favour?
All, thank you.
Governance Committee.
I propose that the minutes from the Governance Committee dated the 11th of July 2023 are adopted by full council.
Seconder for that?
Councillor Brewer.
All those in favour?
One abstention, thank you.
Item 10, to adopt recommendations from the Governance Committee.
Thank you, I'll take this one, thank you. Item 10.1, the first policy is a new policy in response to the number of inflatables now in use from hirers at the JCC building. I therefore propose that this policy is adopted by full council.
Seconder.
Can I speak?
Sorry?
Councillor Levers wants to ask a question.
You want to ask a question? Yes.
Having a family where a child died jumping off a bouncy castle, I'm concerned that we are still allowing the hiring of the inflatables. Every year there is 10,000 injuries. I find that appalling, and I would like to suggest, if the council does want to continue with this policy, that they also consider a paragraph about having mats all the way around these castles. If you are on a hard floor, which is what this person I know, this young man, died, then we need safety mats all around.
Okay, thank you for that.
Just in answer to that, Governance Committee did have that in there initially in the first draft. It was taken out because that's usually in the supplier's instructions, and therefore the supplier is taking that risk. And if we add it in there, then we would have to supply the mats, of which we don't have. So that has been looked at.
Yeah, but it's not covering us. I know you're saying it's in there, but it's not actually covering us. I understand that. I totally disagree with hiring them, but that's my personal opinion.
Well, anyway, we've got a proposal. Have we got a seconder?
Councillor Brewer.
All those in favour of that?
Okay, Councillor Hobbs.
No, I'll abstain from it.
Abstain. Councillor Jordan, are you abstaining or against?
I'm against it, I don't agree with it.
And I'll ask for all those against.
Okay.
Thanks for that.
Wait a minute.
Oh,
I'm still going.
Fine.
That's why I was doing it the way I was doing it. Right, so that's not carried. So we are now banning bouncy castles from our property, is that correct?
That's right. Well, that's what the vote was.
Well, that wasn't the vote, it was to
No.
accept the policy. Are we reviewing the policy, or are we telling hirers they cannot have bouncy castles? Because that's really important for my job.
Can I come back as the chair of the governance? I think if that's the view of the council, that you're anti the inflatables, then that should be the thing to move on this. This was to cover the liability of the council as opposed to yay or nay to the bouncy castles inflatables. That's a different issue. Therefore, if that is the opinion of the council, then they should be banned.
Are you proposing that?
I therefore propose that the inflatables and bouncy castles are therefore not allowed on council property or premises.
Can I second that, please?
Yeah.
I've got votes on the seconder. All those in favour of that?
Okay, those against? Right, so that's carried. So we will no longer be accepting any hires, and I will cancel any bookings where we have them presently.
Okay, 10.2 is the complaints policy has been reviewed and updated. I propose that this policy is adopted by full council.
Seconder for that?
Councillor Lane?
All those in favour?
All, thank you.
10.3, the equity, equality and diversity has been updated and totally reviewed, and I propose that this policy is adopted by full council.
Seconder?
Councillor?
A word. There's just one bit in here I couldn't quite understand. It says all councillors and staff are expected to address the impact of prejudice, stereotype and victimisation advised, conscious and unconscious. How do we police people's unconscious minds? And how do you defend yourself against claims of unconscious bias?
I mean, it is in the law, it says about unconscious bias, which is why it's in there. I take your point, but what I would say is if someone makes a joke, it's challenging it on the spot and saying we will not accept it, and then they are aware that their unconscious bias is that, and then if they do it again, then clearly it's a conscious bias to do it, I would argue.
Feels a bit George Orwell to me.
That is what is written in now, and we all have something I've learned of late. We all have it within us.
It's creeping in
I
everywhere.
know, but we all have it within us is something I have learnt of late. So therefore I propose that this policy is adopted by full council.
Well, we had a proposal in a second.
Yeah.
So, all those in favour?
Well, I haven't got a seconder. Councillor Marseille, sorry, thank you.
So we've got a proposal in a second. All those in favour?
Those against?
Any against? 2.
Abstaining.
10.4, lone worker policy. This has also been reviewed by the Human Resources Committee. I propose that this updated policy is adopted by full council.
Councillor Lane, seconding.
All those in favour?
Yeah. All, thank you.
10.5 is the filming, audio, recording, photographing and reporting of council and committee. Again, this has been reviewed and updated, and I propose that this policy is adopted by full council.
Seconder.
Councillor Lane.
All those in favour?
All, thank you.
Item 10.6, it should read on your agenda as the grievance policy, and you all have received a copy. However, as this is not recorded on the agenda as such, and to comply with standing orders, it will be carried over to the next full council meeting.
Okay.
Item 10.7, this is an amendment to the policy adopted previously. An explanatory paper was prepared for the Governance Committee, which you have received a copy of, and the proposal is that the policy adopted on the 20th of June 2023 is amended to include the suggested wording under Section 5, medical examination and advice.
And this was at the request of a member of staff. Seconder, Councillor Brew. Thank you.
All those in favour?
All, thank you.
Thank you. That concludes the policies.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Item 11, agree payments of bills. I've got a proposal for that.
Councillor Inquire.
Seconder.
Councillor Westrop.
All those in favour?
All, thank you.
To receive a finance update. Statements of account.
Yep, so you've all received the statements for all of the bank accounts, and you've also received the bank reconciliation up to the 31st of August, so I need your vote to accept.
Got a proposal for that?
Councillor Lane.
Seconder.
Councillor Buxton.
All those in favour?
All, thank you.
List of receipts.
Again, you received the receipts from number 1 to 346. I just need a vote to accept that you're happy with them.
All those, got a proposal for that?
Yeah, I'll propose that.
Councillor Pyatt.
Seconder.
Councillor Lane.
All those in favour?
All, thank you.
That update.
So the the VAT for quarter 1 was received on the 25th of July, and it was for £24,816.82. There's nothing to vote on that, that's just information.
Yeah. Cabinet sample.
Yes, the required financial spot checks have been carried out by myself and Councillor Lane for the period of mid-July to the end of August. There were a couple of minor administrative errors were resolved with satisfactory results and subsequently recorded.
Seconder.
Councillor Lane.
All those in favour?
Councillor Jordan, in favour? Yep. All, thank you.
Move on then to item 13. Receive a West Norfolk Tourist Forum presentation from Councillor Levers. Could we be as brief as possible, please?
5 minutes, I've timed it. I'd like to apologise first to the Community Development Committee who have heard 90% of this that I'm going to read now. I attended my first meeting with the West Norfolk Tourist Forum on the Wednesday the 2nd of August, representing this Town Council, the people and businesses. West Norfolk Tourism Forum is as it states for the whole of West Norfolk. I will report on what particularly concerns our town. Mr Philip Eek is the Visit West Norfolk Tourism Officer. He is part of the forum. These notes are from the work he has carried out or is intending to do to benefit Downham Market and promote our beautiful town. A new updated mini guide to Downham has been printed and distributed in July this year. However, I would suggest that anyone with feedback about the guide for the next print, which will be in February of next year, contact me. A suggestion was made that Downham Market join the Kings Lynn Heritage Open Day to attract more visitors. As we all know, we have many different food businesses. A food map guide is definitely getting closer to being printed. Another excellent idea from a member of the forum was to get food business in Downham Market to join the Norfolk Restaurant Week, or maybe a Taste of Downham Market event. Downham Market and its surroundings could be advertised as a great place for film productions, and we know some filming has taken place. A list of suggested locations could be formed and promoted. We as a council need to decide if we want to encourage coach tours to stop for their lunch, afternoon tea, etc. on the way to other places, Hunstanton, Thursford at Christmas, etc. At the moment, there is 2 parking places on Priory Road for coaches. Extra revenue would be to the benefit of all businesses in town. Maybe full council needs to think about coach parking. Mr Philip Eek is working on a gingerbread trail, and this should be available next spring. Natural England are planning a King Charles III coast path, which will run for 2,700 miles, and the route runs north to south through Kings Lynn. On the National Trail site, It seems to show that the path will merge with the existing Fen Rivers Way route and then through Downham Market to Ely. Mr Parish spoke about this earlier. Visit West Norfolk uses adverts in big cities, London, Sheffield, Nottingham, and to encourage visitors to West Norfolk. This generates inquiries for our area. March 2024, there is a British Tourism and Travel Show in Birmingham. A representative will be attending, promoting West Norfolk, and obviously that includes Downham Market. A new version is being prepared of where to stay, and Downham Market has very few places listed in the current issue at the moment. Mr Eek is always pleased to hear from businesses in Downham Market. His contact details are on Visit West Norfolk website. Representing all of you, I am also happy to receive suggestions and feedback to improve tourism in Downham Market. Please do not hesitate to contact me on my council email address, which is on the Town Council website. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Councillor Evers. Thank you. Item 14, to receive CCTV quotes for the Jubilee Community Centre and Town Hall and agree actions.
So as Council are aware, we were victims to vandalism at the Town Council offices and the Town Hall, and including the notice boards with locks. They were filled with some form of glue, which has cost over £700 in order to fix. And due to our ever-expanding insurance premium and the excess on it, it isn't of value to claim on that. So that is a direct impact on the taxpayer. Now, I know that Council were interested in CCTV, but there was discussion whether it should go on the town square, so I've only focused on the protection of our buildings in this case. Regarding the Town Council offices, we have an active ring doorbell and we have 2 security cameras, the security cameras, once they are active later on in the week, will have the signage put up to cover us legally. The ring doorbell does not need signage, so it is active immediately, and we've already noticed one interesting character with a mask over their face, so it has been very beneficial. You have been provided with 3 quotes from Hyperion Security, CTS and Focus Security Limited. The CTS quote said that the Town Council would be responsible for providing lifting equipment. I've since managed to receive a quote, and that is £30 plus VAT, which includes an operator and is per hour. CTS could not confirm how many hours they would need to be on site because they didn't know what would be found when they got to the top. So that's an unknown figure. Focus Security Limited, they work with the Borough Council. I've done a reference check with Martin Chisholm. They have been fully enhanced DBS checked. They've been 10 years with the Borough Council, and they work with the local police stations. And should Council be minded to go with that one, it could be connected to the remote security at the Borough Council if that is the way Council wish to go.
There'll be a fee for the Borough Council one.
Okay.
Yes, they seem to want to rely on Wi-Fi. Is there any Wi-Fi at the JCC?
That would be on a 4G card that we would have to purchase on top,
So that's
unless Council were minded to put Wi-Fi in.
I was disappointed to see that some of them don't change the cables. The cables have been in there more than 10 years, I would imagine. Although cables don't deteriorate, the ends tend to sometimes. So I wondered if we ought to have in the specs that they have to change the cable.
Yeah, what I would say is obviously I was looking for the most cost effective because this isn't budgeted. Every one of them took off the bottom bit of the lamp post, inspected what they could see of the wire and were happy with it. And none of them recommended replacement as being a necessary. CTS said they would like to upgrade it because they'd like to have everything high spec. But as I say, I went with like-for-like quotes.
Something that I noticed that I'm sorry I forgot to check. One of them said business credit card charge of 1.9%. I really thought that has been taken off private ones, but I don't know if business cards
They can charge it on
they
business.
can charge.
They can.
Yeah, because I know it's illegal to do it on
personal,
things
but no, they can
for
do it on
us.
business.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fine. Thank you.
Okay. The only thing I worry about is putting a recorder in a locked up unit up in a loft.
I mean, we have full access to the building with 3 sets of keys, so...
But it's the hot spot of putting it in a lock-up build. Unless it's a specially designed one that lets draft come into it, it would be a danger that it could seize up and catch fire.
Again, all I can say is that all the companies were shown the location and were happy with it going into that location.
I wouldn't be happy with that.
I did speak to them about going into the JCC, but that would mean digging up the car park.
Can I ask a question? If it's registered with the Borough Council, under the previous quotes we've had for this system, they wanted a fee.
Yes,
and it was a heavy fee.
Martin Chisholm hasn't come back with that. That would be something that could be looked into.
But as I say, it was a heavy fee that made it financially unviable. It was that heavy. Okay? That's the only comment I wish to make.
I would hope we could negotiate, since they're looking to put the CCTV into the toilets, and that's part of the plan.
Yeah,
but again,
exactly,
okay. I don't know.
Although that's allowed anyway, CCTV in toilets.
No, not in the toilets, across the toilet blocks for their vandalism protection.
What you wouldn't do, you wouldn't.
A proposal to do something.
Would anyone like to propose one of the quotes?
Can we put forward the prices again, because I don't think everybody can remember what they are sitting around here, please.
I've got them. Can I?
If you're happy to,
Yeah, I'm
it'll
happy
save
to
me
read
loading
out.
everything up.
The total quotes, am I allowed to read out the company?
Yes.
The lowest quote is CTS Security.
Excuse me, could you just pull the microphone closer to it?
That doesn't...
It doesn't work.
I'll try.
You've got to
Yeah,
talk
okay.
louder.
The lowest-
Only this one.
The lowest quote is CTS, and for the Town Hall and the Jubilee is 3,425. Then Focus is 4,483, and the highest one is Hyperion, 4,730. If you wish, I can break that down between the Town Hall and Jubilee for each individual quote, if you would like as well.
I believe CTS actually did this building in the past, haven't they?
Yeah.
They do our fire alarms and our intruder alarms.
Yeah.
They will. I assume there'll be some other costs to add on.
As I say, CTS definitely said about the lifting equipment, so there'll be the £30 an hour.
And also they've asked for a double socket in the loft and something else, so that will be
They should all need that anyway.
Yeah. So they're the quote. If you want me to repeat that, I'm happy to do that.
Or does anyone want to make a proposal?
Yeah, I'll go for the CTS one.
I'll second that.
We've got a CTS proposal and a seconder. All those in favour of that?
Those against?
Any opposed? Against? Against. Well, that's...
So I've got 3
closed.
against, Councillor Pike, Councillor Marseille and Councillor Westrop. Any abstaining? No, thank you.
Well, that's carried then. Item 15, to approve the town maintenance contractor.
So this was a tender, so this one the name shouldn't be read out on. You've had it already emailed to you. Are we okay? Yeah. So tender A was £15,042 plus VAT with a quoted 5% uplift year on year, and tender B was £17,449.
We're going to be able to go on other than price. So we might
Sorry?
just go, we've got nothing else to go on other than price, so you might just go with the cheapest one.
Both of them are known contractors.
Or can I have
Who
a
have the
proposal
related
then
paperwork.
for
Tender A, please.
tender A? Seconder?
Seconder for A.
Yeah. Councillor Levers?
All those in favour of proposal A?
all, thank you.
Can I ask a question? Is the checkout of the contract, the get-out clause, is that going to be 1 month on the contract?
There is no get-out clause. It's a solid 3-year contract.
And what about if we fall out?
It isn't the basis of the tender, so I would argue that unless the other side are happy to sign that, that isn't the document that we put forward.
Because we used to have a 3-month get-out clause, didn't we?
We did, but it went through
long
property,
time.
and property didn't put one in, and it went through full council, and full council didn't put one in. So,
You was on the working party, by the way.
I mean, it can be. You could vote to ask for me to speak to tender A and put that in, but if he doesn't agree to it, then we're stuck with what's on the tender agreement, because that's obviously the legal document that we're basing it on.
Someone want to propose it?
Can I just back Councillor Pye up on that I think we should ask him to put that in the agreement?
I'd like to see it in the agreement and the contract.
Well, if I've got a proposal for that.
What period are we doing that in?
1 month.
Can I ask why Councillor Pye didn't mention that?
Well, he's quite entitled to put a proposal.
Can I suggest that it isn't 1 month, because if a contractor has already purchased all their bedding plants, etc., I wouldn't accept a 1 month, so I would reject that. So I'm thinking that if I go there, it's going to be rejected outright.
Well, we did 3 months one, and they did nothing for the 3 months. They just took the money and ran.
Well, that contractor isn't based in the tenders, so it's not a consideration.
That's my concern.
You was on the working party.
So are you happy with 3 months?
Do you want to propose 3 months?
I'm happy with 3 months, yeah.
Are you proposing it?
You're proposing 3 months. You second to that?
Councillor
All
Lane?
those in favour of that?
Those against?
Those against? I think that's carried. So we'll ask them
Just
to...
a minute, sorry.
Oh, sorry.
There's some abstentions because I haven't got enough.
No?
I haven't got enough people voted. So who's abstaining?
No.
Are you abstaining or you're against? Yeah, I thought you were. That's fine. Just to make it clear to council that if the other side do not agree to those terms, there is nothing I can do about it.
Okay. Well, at least we tried.
That's right. You can't.
Item 16, to discuss parish partnership invitation to bid letter.
So this is a document that's already gone round. It's got a closing date of the 8th of December. The maximum bid is 25,000 per bid, and you'll have seen the things that can be voted on. It's just whether anybody wants to put anything forward.
Go on.
As you all know, last year we applied for SAMS and we received it. This is a suggestion. I did ask about the A1122 verge and about a trod footpath. I've heard nothing back. So I'm still looking for something like that, or if we can't get it, highways to cut it back. But the other thing that I know we desperately need in Downham is bus shelters. In fact, only the other week I was cycling by our bus stop and someone asked me to stop and asked me if we could put forward for a bus shelter. It was raining and they were standing outside. Most of the bus stops around here are used by retired people or older people, and they're standing out in the rain. There is a lay-by on Trafalgar Road. I'm not sure about Clack Close or the Sivrays, whether they've got lay-bys, you know, where the bus stops, where there'd be room for a shelter. I'm not sure about those. But that's...
Just regarding the A1122, you won't get a trod path. Norfolk County Council already said they will not support it.
They will not.
They will not support it.
Yeah.
So, regarding the bus shelters, obviously if council are minded to do that, but you also need to be minded of the upkeep which comes with it.
Also, they would be on the county council land, wouldn't they?
It would need their approval.
So,
Some of the borough council land in Clackclose.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
We also are quite always doing something with information boards. Can't we ask for something on that line? We did say about tourist boards and things at the meeting.
In the literature that we were sent, it does say that schemes can be within or immediately adjacent to the highway. So you can get a permission to do that.
Yeah, I've not ever spoken to them about bus shelters, so I don't know where we lie with that. I only know about the A1122.
I don't think it's included in it, I don't think. I'm trying to find it out now.
If I could just say that as of last year, we applied for these grants, but there was an obvious budget and we might not have had the money to take the grant. But again, we can apply for them, but if we haven't got the budget next year to do it, they don't come out till next March, then we can say we haven't got the money to do it. So we are not going to lose anything by doing some work to see about having something like a bus shelter.
Bus shelters are approved because it says new bus shelters and shelter lighting. Please note, any new shelter would be owned and maintained by the parish/town council.
I know that, yes. And they actually upgrade or funding is available to provide or upgrade.
Just a quick, following on from Councillor Hyatt, is it possible to apply for an electronic tourist board to go in number 6 when the renovations are complete, something that's ongoing and attractive? Because that might cost quite a lot of money. Could we apply for a grant for something such as that?
I would just warn you that the conservation officer was not happy when the previous town clerk put that forward because of it being out on the frontage.
Okay.
And I don't think that is covered by this.
Right, okay, fair enough.
Because it's all highways related.
Inside.
Right. Town Hall. Main entrance to the Town Hall from the Town Hall car park. At the back of the Town Hall entrance, where the desk was, there used to be a screen which continually displayed information. Now this was not cause a problem with the Heritage Society because it was inside the building, but you could see it through the windows and gave information. The only thing we come unstuck with, because we used a television, we could receive television signals from various organisations that transmitted, we was expected to buy a licence. And the outcome of that was that we folded it in the end. But that used to do screen various adverts, which are now also put on the display panels outside.
That was on the inside of the town
was
hall,
on the
wasn't
inside
it? But
of the
not
town
in the
hall.
window.
No, it was opposite the window where the old desk used to be. Okay? So that was a system we had. So whether we can do that again, whether you could do that in number 6, I don't know.
I can certainly look into it from a conservation perspective, but it wouldn't pass this.
If you use a computer screen, you don't have to pay a TV licence.
Pardon?
If you use a computer screen...
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. In those
TV
days, we used a TV.
Yeah.
Okay? I'm not saying you need a licence now, but as a pencil who's just had to start buying one, I'm a bit snotty with it because the service is lousy.
Yeah, I'd just like to move the idea of a bit more cohesion for pedestrians along Bridge Street. At the moment, I'm not sure if this scope of the parish partnership covers this, but at the moment we've got 3 suggested crossing places. Drop curbs, tactile pavements, and 2 of them are... So we're encouraging people to cross the road in what I would consider challenging positions, especially the one that goes across to the florists and reeds. You've got people, you've got people coming out of Holly's car park. They're too busy looking down Bridge Street, and so I would like to see 2 of them, and the one by the clock, I would like to see those got rid of, and one proper pedestrian crossing where the other suggested crossing place is at the moment. And also there's a drop curb outside Bank House, a completely random drop curb, It must have been there from when the bus stop was opposite. It's been raised the other side, but not outside Bankhouse, and that is causing a bit of a stumbling hazard. I have been approached. So that needs to be levelled anyway. But I would like to see a bit more cohesion for pedestrians and stop expecting them to cross or suggesting they cross in quite dangerous and challenging places.
Are you okay if I address Councillor Osborne? Because he was looking at crossings. I just want to know. Is that okay? Councillor Osborne, I know that Councillor Moises was asking about a crossing. Has anything gone forward with Bridge Street?
Basically, I made contact with Highways and Norfolk County Council, and they were basically suggesting that the cost wasn't looking promising. I think, because I did get the email, it's certainly something that could happen, but basically I think the Town Council would basically have to put up a large amount of money for a consultation process, and I think we're talking, forgive me to just quote from my memory, but it was somewhere in the sort of £10,000 to £20,000.
And that was for the consultation?
Just for the consultation, and then the actual funding for the crossing, I think, was more sort of 150,000, 200,000, that kind of thing. Obviously, Norfolk County Council would be involved a bit with that, but I think the Town Council would have to put up the money for the consultation process. So that's where I got to, basically. And obviously, that's quite a substantial sum.
Much appreciated, thank you.
Well, I will say, I mean, first of all, what cost is a life? The amount of people that I see nearly getting hit, and I'm only on that market once a week, when they're crossing, but it's the speed of the cars up Bridge Street that needs to be controlled. At the moment, there is no traffic calming measures up Bridge Street, and I'm astonished sometimes at the speed of cars and motorbikes coming up that road, and it is going to be not long before somebody is seriously injured or killed as a result.
I think we can raise that with Councillor White to take forward, but the maximum bid on this is 25,000, so I don't believe we'll get, if we've got to consult on a crossing, I'd imagine we'll need to consult on
I'd just like it minuted that that's my thoughts.
Can I just add? Can I just add the 20 mile an hour sign has been turned round the wrong way opposite the phone shop near the post office by somebody.
I think two things, Chair. It is increasingly noticeable actually how Bridge Street is being treated as a speeding rat run. And I think it should be brought to Councillor White's attention, the growing concern this council has for the speed that actually is occurring within the centre of the town. It's not only on the market crossing, actually try crossing the road near the old library. That is equally sort of problematic, which leads me to the thought that we may need to do a whole review really of other traffic calming measures in the town, such as variegated sort of traffic flow and speed humps really at the end of the day. We do have to be mindful though in those circumstances of delivery to shops within the town. Whatever we do, i.e. sort of road crossings or other speed measures, it's going to have an impact on the town generally, and full consultation is likely to be needed.
Can I just stop you there because that's fine.
Okay. My second
traffic calming measures, and this is not on the agenda.
Yeah, that's fine, but we could actually bring it back.
I'll put my
stop you there, please.
Yeah, no, okay.
I'll put my head on the block here. It'll probably be chopped off, but from memory, I believe that's an advisory 20 against the holidays. It's not a mandatory. Could they not put it a mandatory?
I think
20
it is
mile an
mandatory.
hour?
I think it is. I think it is mandatory.
There is a sign up.
Anyway, can we
square,
go back to the parish partnership? Invitation letter to bid. Do we want to bid for the parish partnership?
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Well, can I have a proposal for that, please?
Excuse me, Mr Mayor, I had my hand up. Could I
Sorry.
speak?
Go on.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I have lobbied against this crossing the opposite Con Club coming over onto the market.
Oh, can I stop you there? Because again, you're speaking about the... We're talking now...
You're rudely interrupting me, Mr Mayor. I have not
I'm not rudely interrupting you. I'm making an absolute statement.
You are rudely interrupting me.
I am not rudely interrupting you. You are... We're talking about
Have you just interrupted me, Mr Mayor? Could you answer me the question?
I asked you for a comment on this parish partnership.
Excuse me, Mr Mayor. Everybody else has discussed this issue. Why are you stopping me to discuss
because
it?
Everyone stopped it. We want to talk now about the parish partnership. If you want to talk about...
Oh, I see. Everybody else has had their word, but you don't want me to...
Put it on the agenda.
Very good. Thank you, Mr Mayor, for cutting me off and not letting me speak.
That's
wonderful.
Fine. OK, can we carry on then about this parish partnership? Have we got a proposal for the parish partnership?
I will propose that we...
Seconder for the parish partnership.
Sorry, what are we proposing?
No.
Because there has to be a specific scheme when applying for.
Right. Don't know what they're doing.
I think the crossing.
I'll propose we go for a bus stop shelter.
Where?
Down Wimsham Road.
Oh, but there's a number on which one? There's a number.
The most people I know, top end.
Top end.
Near the school?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, there isn't a bus stop near the school. Which are you talking about? Clack Close Road?
Yeah, Clack Close, the first bus stop down Clack Close. That's where most people congregate. And
you understand that this is unbudgeted work, and you understand we would then be responsible for maintenance of the...
Yeah.
Okay. Seconder?
I'll second
Councillor
it.
Levy?
As I said, we can turn it down next year if we get it. We don't. If we haven't got the money, then fine.
Yeah,
but we need to try for these things.
All right, we've got a proposal and a seconder. All those in favour?
Oh.
All those in favour?
So 2 in favour.
Is that all?
Those against? Abstentions?
I'll look at the video, it'll be easier.
Yeah, OK. We'll take that forward, whatever it is.
I need you just to slow down on the votes because I can't write it down quick enough.
Oh, I'm sorry. Ask the votes again. Well, I'll ask you to vote again. All those in favour of the proposal?
So we've got 2 in favour. And then against?
Against? All those against? I don't think it's carried.
It's not,
No.
but I still got to record down what the vote is.
Yeah.
And then everybody else is abstaining, yeah?
Abstainers.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Right. Item 17, to discuss Borough Council consultation for the 24-25 Council Tax Support Scheme.
So as Councillor Osborne said, you can do a reply as a corporate body. It closes on the 1st of October. The way to obviously do that would be for Council to agree a working party to do this and put together a response. And I would suggest, actually, we haven't got a committee that it would feed through, so it will have to be an agreement of a mini-formed committee just for the basis of doing this and then closing it down immediately after.
Oh. Is that? Can someone propose that?
No? Okay, no proposal.
No. Okay. Item 18. To discuss the Borough Council Net Zero Communities Letter dated 29th of August and agree actions.
So, as you saw from the correspondence from the Borough Council, they've received funding regarding climate change. This is not committing to any source of funding. This is us telling the Borough Council whether we're interested in working with them on any of the ideas. Our councillor's happy for me to just go down, and if anybody's against it. So, can I just confirm that everybody is interested in installing solar panels? Is anybody against it? Sorry, I'll ask that question.
Is there any cost to the council for that?
This is only us showing an interest at this stage.
Find out later.
I suspect what the borough want to do is find out who's interested in doing this and then look at allocating funding. So if we say no to everything, then obviously Downham Market wouldn't get any funding.
No, sure.
If we say we're interested, then I would imagine we'll go into the mix, but I can't guarantee what is happening with the survey.
Sounds a good idea to go in.
So is anybody against solar panels? So we're interested in it. Anybody against air source heat pumps? So I'll put down we're interested. Ground source heat pump.
Oh, I don't think we have the facilities to do that bit.
Okay.
Okay.
Everybody else happy that I say that we're interested? Yeah. Solar hot water heater.
Yeah. Can I say something? I have this system in my house already. I've had it for donkey's years. And it works quite well, apart from the fact if it rains all day, then we have a problem. But then I'm afraid it's overtaken by the gas-fired boiler. But yes, we've had it for years and years and years. And it works.
Good. Yeah. Okay. So everybody's happy to be interested in that. A biomass boiler.
Yeah. I don't know who's going to feed the masses. Interested in
I don't know, but you're interested, yeah? Electric battery storage.
We got rid of that out of the town hall. Sorry.
And electric vehicle charging, we're already in the middle of doing the, so we're already doing that. So lovely. Thank you very much.
Is that? Right, move along then to item 19. Can I ask the traders in the market? We'll call you back for a minute.
All market traders go.
We've asked the traders to leave because they have a pecuniary interest. Sorry?
Anybody else with a pecuniary interest or an interest indeed that they wish to leave the room? Perfect.
I just thought that they would turn up because they don't know who discuss what.
It doesn't matter, it's
No,
not a confidential meeting, it's just that because they've got a pecuniary interest they can't involve in the meeting.
Right.
They're quite, well, it'll be in the minutes anyway.
They can throw tomatoes at us.
Yeah, absolutely. So item 19. Section 1, to purchase 5 gazebos for use by market traders.
So I've circulated 3 and then Councillor Marseille also circulated 1, not in the region of a pecuniary interest, just to help in the research process. To get 5 gazebos, it's in the region of £650 to £1,000, dependent on which level of quality you go to.
All right. So, can we? Should we propose?
Speak. No, they want to speak.
Go on, speak.
Can I ask? I mean, we bought 5 gazebos about 2 years ago, all built through a CIL.
We
can't use them.
We didn't buy them. They was part of the
CIL.
fund.
Yeah, it was part of a CIL.
But we have in our possession 5
yes, but
gazebos
they're only able to use for specific reasons. In other words, they can only be used by traders for, what is it?
So it's a start-up grant it went for the previous town clerk applied for, and then we're bound by those terms for 5 years. So we've done 2 years, so we've got another 3 years before we can use them as just general gazebos.
Right. Can I ask, is there a proven need? I mean, I attended the property committee and a couple of market trader / councillors said that there were traders that hadn't come back after the initial trial period because they hadn't been able to hire a gazebo. Is this something that you as the market manager have found? Is there a proven need to buy 5 of them?
I have one trader that has been saying it for the past 18 months that they wouldn't return if we don't supply a gazebo. And I've had one this week querying whether they could hire one, but not outwardly saying that they wouldn't return. They're just inquiring as to whether we could hire it out because they don't own one. But whether that would lead to that, I don't know.
So I think, I think we as a council, we offer quite a generous starter package. New traders get 8 weeks crack at the whip. We supply everything for them. I think it's for £20, so free for the first 4 weeks, £20 for the next 4. And I think that's quite a generous offer. And if there isn't a proven need to buy 5, then, we're sort of perhaps spending £1,000 on something we may not get our return on for a long period of time.
It's true. Anyone else?
Yes. Frank was before me.
Oh, right.
Yeah. It's just that the committee, when we looked at it, we decided that we didn't need the very expensive ones. We also could use it as part of an advertising thing, where we're actually advertising to new traders that they can hire, borrow, whatever you want to call it, a gazebo. A lot of the time people can't actually physically get a gazebo in their car or anything else. But I think if we went for the cheaper ones, not these £1,000 ones and everything, but if we go for 5 of the cheaper ones, but use it as part of an advertising thing.
Yeah.
There's been at least 2 people who have exactly what Councillor Sharman said. They're not able to carry them in their car because they're a certain age as well and lift in them. And the suggestion was to rent them out when they weren't being used, so that we're going to get our money back quite quickly by renting them out as well.
Absolutely.
Instead of sitting there and gaining nothing, which is what the other 5 are doing.
There are some people that are not insured to carry the gazebos in the car because they're on social, domestic and pleasure, not hire and reward. So there is an implication there probably for 1 or 2, but it's all the only comment I've got to make about it.
Right, I've got a question to ask. If we purchase these 5 gazebos, can they be used for games and things on the town square? Can they be used for things and other things on the marketplace or anywhere else we would like to use them, up to the point of even taking them up to the Jubilee Centre and using them up there?
Yeah, we used to have. Absolutely. We used to have.
Sorry.
Is that look? We've got the 5 that we bought with the CIL money. Is that they can be used for?
No, they can't.
No, we use them for sort of Christmas markets and stuff because they're new traders that do that, but we wouldn't be able to just use them for general purposes.
Traditionally, we had stalls, and the stalls were always used anywhere that they was needed. So I would assume that they would be used anywhere that's needed.
I think it's an interesting discussion, and it's interesting that it's come this way, because if we are saying the proven need is for general town council work, of which market traders are one, you could perhaps look at the purchase of, say, 3 to 5 cheaper sort of gazebos and actually hire them out and use them across the piece. So I think if you're looking at a general sort of purpose thing, I'd be more comfortable, I think, with this proposal.
Well, we've had a discussion.
Can I just ask clarification? The price they pay to rent the space, is the gazebo going to be on top of that price?
Yes, yes.
I'll need in the proposal what we're charging in rent, because it'll need to be added to the licence.
Can I just ask a
If
quick...
we first say we want the...
Just a quickie about storage. I know space is a premium. Is there the facility to store further gazebos in the town hall in a safe, dry environment?
Yes, I would assume so, is it?
I have concerns over storage because obviously we're losing the whole of that back room to becoming the office, which has turned into the containers.
Relevant point.
I'd have concerns if we're buying them for general purpose, then they would need to be branded Downham Market Town Council.
Not necessarily.
I'll propose 3 instead of 5, so I don't see the need of 5, but 3 would be better.
You propose 3.
And how much are you charging to hire them?
Wait a minute. If we get the 3, then we can...
Yeah.
Do Is there
I can't see a need of...
My only worry, Mr Mayor, is that if you vote to purchase 3 and then the rental price is extortionate to some councillors, they may then not want to vote for it. So you've then purchased something which...
Can you put a figure on the 3?
Is it possible to add unbranded?
Sorry?
Because is it possible to add the gazebos unbranded?
Yeah, we want
because that
unbranded.
seems
We
to
did,
put...
I thought we agreed unbranded.
We did.
Yeah, we
Yes,
did.
I thought you did.
Purchase 3 unbranded gazebos.
Yeah, sorry.
To what budget?
Should it be £10 a day?
That's not the question, is it?
I would propose £10 a day.
£40 a month.
That's £20.
Yes, so with a higher charge of £10 per day.
What's the figure? Oh, there isn't one, is
It's
there?
£20 a week on top of your normal.
How much is the hire for? How much would the hire be without the gazebo?
So if it's a casual trader, then it would be £15, and obviously they'd then be paying £10 to hire, so £25 a pitch.
Is that rather high?
It is, I think. What about 7?
Shall we say 7? I
7?
propose 7.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, and then I need a budget for buying these gazebos within this proposal.
Oh,
I'm trying to build a proposal, so purchase 3 unbranded gazebos with a maximum budget of, question, to update the hire agreement to a charge of £7
we
a
don't
day.
want the really expensive ones.
about £600.
Excuse me, sir. Why unbranded? Because at the end of the day, why unbranded? Before we actually look at at charging the rent, just can we be clear about why unbranded?
Because it's more expensive, isn't it, to have it branded? That's why I suggested.
It's more expensive. It's not necessary, I don't think. Personally, we've never, our other stalls, we never had the logo on.
No, we didn't.
Right.
I thought we said unbranded because there was some confusion about when there was when the branded ones were set up, people were bypassing them because they didn't realise that it was a stall and they thought it was something at the town council.
Yes.
I believe
It's a
that
town
was
council.
in the discussion.
That's a good point.
Yeah, unbranded, but they will be marked security minded, that they are the property of Downham Market. Would that cover? That would cover that.
Can you not have hired by Downham Market Town Council?
Any what?
Hired by Downham Market
I mean, the
Town
problem
Council? That
is,
would
as soon as you start putting any sort of
it's
wording
like
on it, it gets expensive.
We've had stalls for years and we never had put the logo on them, ever. So we've got a situation, we've got a proposal that we buy 3 gazebos and charge £7 a day.
Yeah. And the budget is?
And the budget is, what, £600?
600.
Yeah.
Okay.
We've got a seconder for that. Sorry.
Can I just say that £600, you're looking at £200 a gazebo. Can you actually get one which is good enough to actually stand up out there? I'm not saying buy the expensive ones, but you can get rubbish off, you know.
You can actually buy a gazebo for £60.
Yeah, I know. They're not up to the
The
standard.
ones that will withstand the winds that we get from the Iceland car park are in the region of £190. So, because we don't need to buy the weights, we've got sufficient of them from the old stalls. So £600 should be sufficient.
I think £200 each.
That's my proposal.
Seconder?
I'll second
Councillor Levers.
All those in favour, we do that.
We get there in the end.
Lovely. Oh, thank you.
Hopefully.
So purchase to form a market committee. Does anyone like to volunteer?
Right, just to let you know the law on this.
Yeah, go on.
If you have a market committee, there cannot be non-council members on it. The only way legally to have non-council members is for it to fall into one of 4 categories: management of land, which it isn't, because they'd have to manage the full car park; harbour functions, clearly not; tourism and festivals. So the legal suggestion from Norfolk Parish Training's legal team, not them, their actual legal advisor, is that if you were having non-council members, it would need to be the Market and Tourism Committee. So that's where your basis is.
Just one thing, when we had the meeting with the traders, the feeling was from the traders that the property committee didn't give them as much time, effort or anything else as a committee would. So that's why it was suggested by the market traders that they would like to go back to having a market committee. We used to have one for, I don't know how many years, 15, 20 years.
Oh, mine. So, take you first.
No, I'd like to say I'm strongly opposed to this. I think I went to the last property meeting and ample time was given to talking about the market to the extent that you had to vote to extend the meeting after 2 hours. I think it's too much work. We do not need another committee for this. It needs to be clerked, minuted, agendas, all the rest of it. I think that the property committee is capable of overseeing the market as long as it abides by standing orders. And what we saw today, we have seen interest declared, people removed from the meeting, has to happen, because that didn't happen at the last property meeting, and things happened that shouldn't have happened. So I think property is perfectly capable of managing the market. And if not, I would suggest, and it has been mooted before, that perhaps we hand the market over to the Borough Council to run.
Can I clarify the thing first of all? The reason that the traders were removed from the, or asked to remove from the, because they have a pecuniary interest, and that is the law. The law, they must.
Yeah, sorry, what Councillor Brewer is saying, at the last property meeting, some did not remove themselves.
Some didn't even declare interests and attempted to vote.
It's not a declare interest. If you've got pecuniary interest, you can't be at the meeting.
But that's what she's saying, some did.
They did,
that's what she's
and they
concerned
tried to
about.
vote.
I would very much like to see a market and tourism committee. I'd be quite happy to be on it.
No.
So we have a mixture of traders and councillors, as I don't believe that sometimes things are as impartial as they should be. And I think this is why we should have, a mixture of both. And tourism, market and tourism, the tourism would fit in very well with what I do now. So I really believe we should have one.
Sorry, I disagree. Councillor Brewer is correct. We do not need another committee. The staff is up to their neck now at the moment with stuff. The property committee is handling it very good because it's keeping the market traders separate from the meetings, and therefore I would not vote for anything to do with a new committee.
Last year was the year we chose to cut down on committees so the staff had more time to do their jobs properly and less time for meetings at night. So I think we should stand by that decision.
Well, I'm going to ask just... sorry.
Thank you. I take the view, similarly to Councillor Brewer, market traders meet with the Mayor. Those concerns are taken to a property constituted committee that has within its remit. Understand from the sort of minutes that it was given sort of a full and due discussion. That property committee is a large committee, so lots of opinions can be aired. It has the ability to actually bring market traders committee to full council, where their market traders issues can be discussed in an open and fair manner, following the guidelines that were laid down by the Mayor. I also think that we actually have to be sort of slightly careful, because actually we are talking to and about one section of the business community in this town. And actually, where's the transparency, fairness and voice for other businesses in this town?
Can we be brief, because we've got 5
I'm sort of
minutes,
saying is that I would not vote for.
Time in a minute.
I would not vote for a market committee based on those reasons.
Is there a proposal to form a market committee?
Market and tourism, I'd like to.
No, on here it says market committee. Is there a proposal to form a market committee? If there isn't a proposal to form a market committee, then there's no proposal.
And is there anybody that wants to second Councillor Lever's request for a market and tourism committee?
The market and tourism is a different thing.
You legally can. We're having a discussion on the matter, therefore any vote can come out of the out of the discussion.
All right. Is there a proposal to form a market and tourism committee?
Ali's.
All right, I've got a proposal and a seconder. Is
In favour?
all those in favour?
So just 2.
Any against?
And abstentions? Councillor Buxton, I didn't see you vote.
Oh,
No,
sorry.
she didn't.
Oh, beg your pardon. I was going for it.
You're for
3.
it, thank you.
Please.
Well, that's,
I'm abstaining.
so that's not
No,
carried.
not carried.
That's not carried. Yeah.
You can ask for an extension.
Can I ask for an extension to
For 3 items.
to 3 items?
Granted.
Can I propose it for that?
Sorry, what are we proposing?
To extend the meeting beyond 2
Extend the
hours, so
meeting
you're
beyond 2
suspending
hours.
standing orders.
Yep.
10 minutes.
Yep, I've thought that.
Everybody in
All those
favour?
10 minutes, go, I've got to go to bed.
Yeah.
It's late.
Thank you.
Then get up and go home.
So that wasn't carried.
No, wasn't
Charlie wants his cocoa.
Item to provide parking for market traders.
No, you missed one
Craft
out.
market.
19.3.
Organised organised markets. Sorry.
I should say that should go to leave it to the
I
Community
think that
Development
goes-
Committee.
Yeah.
I'll be very quick. The traders did not ask for a craft market. They wanted it to be an indoor market. They felt saying indoor craft market puts off everybody. This is what they put in there. It was recorded in the minutes.
They didn't
would like
like
it to
the
be
idea of
called-
craft.
But they didn't like the word craft. They would like it to be called an indoor market. And Councillor Sharman is agreeing with me.
Yeah.
For speed, can't we send that to the Community Development Committee for them to look at it and come back to us?
I did say about it, but
That would speed up the job.
Yeah, speed up.
Right, you're proposing that, Councillor Pye,
I'll
yeah?
second that.
Yeah.
I'll second that.
Everybody in favour of it going to community development?
Yeah.
Lovely. All, thank
You got
you.
it?
Provide parking for market traders, either behind the stalls or in Holly's car park. Anyone propose that? Go on.
I propose it. Some other councils do it.
On
Second.
the stalls, or behind the stalls
Behind
or
the
on the
stalls.
hollies is your proposal?
Why? Which is the best? Which other councils
Oh.
feel is the best?
I mean, from my point of view, I'm not sure how
Hollies.
you would do the Hollies car park because it would mean someone would have to be late at night on the Thursday and the Friday to shut it off.
It's a pity we put either of them down. We couldn't have found somewhere else in town. To put
Again,
them.
if you want to discuss it and come up with a different location, then that
I
can be
think it's a
discussed.
good
It's
idea.
just
Yeah, I think it's a good idea that we come back to the next meeting with some different places to park.
Can I ask where?
Well, can we leave that in abeyance to the next meeting?
Yeah. Would this be something we could deal with, has to be dealt with under car park orders? Is that something?
it will have to be done for the next meeting, yeah.
So therefore it's in
Can I make
conjunction.
a suggestion that we leave it till we met Martin Chisholm and see what the standing orders can be?
Good idea.
Yeah, so if we take it to the
Can we
next
leave
one,
that, please?
Councillor.
Can we leave
Yes.
that in abeyance to the next meeting? Okay?
Okay.
Can we ask the market traders to come back in?
See, those market traders don't feel that
They haven't got enough room to park cars yet.
that's right. I mean, if you get a van behind there with a trailer, I don't believe there is anywhere else.
So, councillors, just to make you aware, the councillors that were in the room voted to extend the meeting just to finish off. So we're now on item 20.
Item 20, you can discuss the request from Downham and Bloom Committee for support for 2023-24, including authority to reform the committee, which currently ceases in September 2023.
Good evening, councillors. Downham in Bloom has been going on since 1986. We won an award then, which is where the town sign lives at the moment, near the post office sorting office. And during the last years, we've had 1 bronze, 3 silver, 2 silver gilt, and 5 gold awards. I think that this town needs to continue with an In Bloom committee. We do not know what the results were for this year until tomorrow, when we go to the meeting of the Anglia In Bloom unit and find out what we actually get. So we will report as early as we can to you what the result is. I'm hoping that we do a gold. I'd be very pleased with that. If we get a silver gilt, I shall be pleased. As I say, a gold is very pleased, a silver gilt is pleased. Anything less than that, I'll be disappointed. Unfortunately, on the day of judgment, we had a bit of a shock with one of the items that we put in for judging, which you all know about, which was the Grange nursing home, suddenly disposed of the person that we were working with. That's all I can say. I cannot pass any biased opinion on that, and I wouldn't want to. I think we need it. I think our past experience proves that we are capable of it. What we would like, though, is to see more volunteers come to us. I'm going to tell you now, I will see this term out and I will make a decision as to what happens to me next.
So your proposal is that we will reform?
I will reform it after the end of September for a committee meeting to be arranged,
So that's
in October.
Before we reform it, can we ask the community if they're interested in supporting and helping this, instead of the council doing it?
It's not the council doing it.
The council spends a lot of time through the office, so it must be the council doing it.
Sorry, we have the WI, we have the Horticultural Societies.
That's not the community.
They are bits of the community. I'm sorry, they're members of this town.
I'd rather see the residents of Downham Market more interested.
Well, I think they are, but...
Thank you, Chair. I think that, picking up on Councillor Pyatt's point, the committee this year actually put a shout out for wider community involvement, and I remarked to the administrator we were either going to get sort of zero response or be flooded with response. I'm absolutely delighted to say that we were flooded, and a lot of the work that actually the new administrator put in was actually coordinating a very wide community response, and it's something extremely positive to build on. And I'd have to say one of the major presentations to the judges was wholly and solely about the residents of Downham Market being proud of their gardens, their allotments, and actually wanting to display them. And it was an absolute delight, and we were able to promote Downham in Bloom through Facebook, Instagram and social media for the first time. We've now got quite a solid community base on which to build, and should the committee be reformed, one of its big first shout-outs will be extend the community, particularly the Horticulture Society, which demonstrates the growing interest in this town of all things garden and garden-related. And we do need a better engagement, I would have to say, with the County Council. So there's lots of work that we can do, but I will say and support Councillor Damond in saying that the foundations are there.
I'd also like to include sponsorship next year with various firms. There's a scheme in London, Young Marketeers, where they sell harvest produce on the market.
I'm so thirsty.
And also, I'd like to involve the Swan Centre guides, Scouts, Brownies and Boys Brigade more as well.
Well, we've got a proposal.
Can I just build on the proposal, because council need to decide who the members are.
Okay.
Council need to decide on the members, so which members of council wish to be on the committee? I need at least 3. Lovely, thank you. So I've got Councillor Westropp, Councillor Lane, Councillor Damond. I just need a seconder now.
Second of that.
Councillor Westropp.
All those in favour, we form the Downham in Bloom committee.
Oh, thank
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep, thank you.
You do very well.
You will be
many years. To submit items for the next agenda. Any items for the next agenda?
Yeah, just one thing. Can we do something about the sound?
Yeah.
I mean, that when we were talking over there, I heard about every third word. I know I'm a bit mutt and jerk, but I think we've got to do something about the sound in here. I'm sure the public can't hear a word of it.
I think the problem is that we all believe that those microphones you use are microphones for the hall, but they're not. They're only for the internet. So that's why I keep asking people to speak up loudly.
Yeah, but I'm sure that if we asked the members of the public, they didn't hear a word of what we've been discussing.
I
We've got to
can
do something
certainly
about
get
it.
some costings for it, but again, it will be another thing coming out of a non-budgeted pot.
Well, do we need these then?
This is for the live streaming that's until December.
Yeah, but I mean, if that's a cost, can't we do away with that and have sound
That's
in
the
here?
vote that Councillor Pyatt has asked for, and I've said that we'll do next month in October.
Did you? Good man.
Yeah.
We'll bring it up.
Keep up with me, Dave.
Anyway, any items for the next agenda? Right. The date of the next full council meeting is the 17th of October. And thank you very much, councillors. I'll close the meeting.